shows our buffer screen
Okay.
until we're ready to start.
Okay.
And it's kind of getting put up there now. It takes like 30 seconds to kind of start.
Okay.
So people can hear like what we're saying right now,
Okay.
but they can only see this buffer screen.
Oh, okay.
So let me see. This microphone I should actually turn off. During the pre-live, they can hear us, so this should be off right now. Let me see. I can take microphone. Are you ready? All right, let's go, because you're late.
Does anyone know what capital improvement fees are?
Tell me.
So what we're starting to see, and we have over the last year, so when you buy a home that's in an HOA,
Okay.
you have certain fees that, you know, are expected. You have a resale certificate that a seller has to get, and you have a transfer fee that's typically split between the buyer and the seller. And then on top of that, they're sliding in this, what they call capital improvement fees.
Okay.
So, you know, when you're doing a net sheet for someone, and you're like, yeah, you know, you're going to have to pay for a buyer. Let's use a buyer as an example. You're going to have to pay, you know, X amount of HOA dues up front. It's a prorated amount, you know, and that's what they expect to pay. And then you talk about your resale certificate, and you should be expected to pay about half of what that transfer fee is. Okay. And then you may even go as far as say, hey, there's also these fees if you go to sell it, or, you know, when you buy it, that there's an additional fee. Okay, we got that covered. But what we're seeing now is on top of that, you'll have like $500 or $600 up to $2,000 I've seen of capital improvement fees. And it's like, what is that? Well, the HOA is taking that and putting it into a fund.
That they have fun with.
I don't know what they do with it.
I think fun.
I think we should explore that a little bit more and understand. When you ask, they're like, well, it just goes into this account, and they almost make it seem like, you know, it's like a deposit and then you'll get it back if you ever sell, but you don't. You don't.
Do you know what I think they do with it? Is I think they buy those world famous chocolate bars that are like $2 a piece from the kids. I think they invest all the money in that, and then they eat the candy bars at Halloween and don't give them out to the kids.
You know, so that's something to know. If it's a newer subdivision and they have plans to put some different amenities in, could be something like that. If they're planning to put, you know, there's various things that I think they use it for. But it is kind of, it goes in, never comes back out. So, you know, I started to think that maybe they do that in the event that, say you have a few foreclosures in the neighborhood and somebody doesn't pay, and there's this fund that will go ahead and cover that, but I don't know. So just be aware of that and ask that up front.
Seems like they're establishing a buffer account, like with your escrows or something like that. And why are you the buffer payer?
Well, and
right?
it should be part of the addendum for the HOA. You know, we have who's going to pay. The seller's going to provide the resale certificate. Who's going to pay for the transfer fee, and then there's nothing in there about capital improvements. So I feel like that should be something that's in the contract and kind of discussed and disclosed and.
Seems shady to me.
I mean,
super shady.
I don't like it. So
all right. Well, that's okay.
Be aware of that.
I am very aware now. Thank you for explaining that to me. So let me go ahead and click on the next button. Then we will go on to topic number 3.
It's a good one.
Topic number 3: protect your clients. And know their income stream. So explain to us what we're talking about here, Shana, and why.
Are you talking about you're protecting your seller to know the buyer's income stream if you have a listing, and yourself?
Well, most specifically, I'm talking about the buyer clients.
Yeah. So if you have a buyer that comes in and they give you a pre-approval letter.
Okay,
this is coming from very recent experience. A pre-approval letter.
Yes.
You make a phone call. Yes, they can qualify. Yes.
That all sounds good.
Yeah. You know, you would think that would be sufficient in
I think it is.
in today's world, but you have to be careful. One, you want to make sure that this letter is from a legitimate
all lenders are legitimate.
Source. Call them, Google it. Don't just call the number on there. Google them. Know the business, call the business directly would be my suggestion.
So now I'm a detective?
Yeah, pretty much. You are also a detective. So you need to make sure that, one, they can qualify and the funds are all verified. Okay, don't just take the letter and, oh, this is great. The other thing is ask. It's okay to ask, hey, what is your profession? Are you salaried or are you 1099? And understand that, because that could pose some challenges as you move forward. You know, we've had it happen several times that, you know, yes, I have a pre-qualification letter. Yes, I am salaried. Okay. But then they're on a salary, but they're on a specific contract. So they're contract employees that have, you know, a 1-year contract with the company. And if you're in, you know, month 11 of your 1-year contract, what is the likelihood of that contract being, you know, extended or picked up by someone else? What is the stability of your future income earnings?
Can you give me some examples of people that might have such an issue?
Well, one, athletes. Okay, so we've experienced this in years past where you have an athlete that definitely has the wherewithal to purchase a home, has the money, making good money, has it in the bank, whatever. But then, you know, they may be in a contract year where, you know, their contract expires next year. So are they too old that they're not going to get picked back up? Is there a younger, new, better, you know, player that's coming up? They might get booted out and not get re-signed. So when you understand things like that, then you can protect them in the contract, right? So you can write these contingencies in that, hey, we're going to move forward with this house. Everything's great. However, we're in a contract year. We want to make sure that if this player doesn't get picked back up by this time, then we want to ensure that we at least get a portion of that earnest money refunded. Okay? So just understanding their financial situation and their job security and all of that just helps you to write the contract and protect them better.
It certainly does. So athletes are one example. Are there any other examples?
We had a client recently that worked for, well, we had a couple. One worked for Toyota. And, you know, he's worked for them. I think he moved here from California, and he has he had just found out, he put a contract on one of our listings, and he found out literally the next Monday that, hey, his contract that expires at the end of the year, December. I mean, we weren't even in October yet. They're not going to re-sign him, his contract. He's like, I moved here, I've worked here for 12 years. I can't believe it.
Well,
so
those things happen.
You know,
technology happens quite a bit, especially people that are on like these foreign programs that are here.
Yep.
I'm missing the name of the program.
FERPTA.
No.
Well, no, not for H1.
H1.
B1.
N1. No, that's a virus.
HB1. It's a House bill.
H1. No.
Right?
No. It's a visa. A visa, the type of work visa. Let me. Anyways, my brain's. I lost that. Uh-oh. That is my bad. All right.
If anybody sees us or hears us.
Yep. So it's recording. It's okay. And what I needed to do here is I might have hit one wrong button. Let's go to back. I have to recircle back, so I'm going to hit my next topic, and we're going to do a reset real quick. So let me go ahead and do that. And we're going to the overview. Sorry. Hello, guys, and hello, and thank you guys for joining us. A little disjointed this morning. And what does that mean? Disjointed.
Disjointed?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think it means to be out of order.
Okay.
And so we are slightly disjointed today. We are doing some of these topics out of order, and this is our overview and our welcome to the episode. So today we have a couple of awesome topics that we're going to definitely bring to you. Those topics are going to include our brand reputation, capital improvements, buyer clients and how to protect them, and saving contacts to your phone. So we're going to hit those topics each. And we do have a couple of short announcements for you. So one of them is Shana's going to be out of town for a little while. So tell us about that.
Yep, I am going to be leaving town today, going to the great state of Montana, where it's very cold. And I will be gone until next Thursday. So if you have meetings with me Tuesdays and Thursdays, you will actually be only meeting with Mike unless you need me, and we can do virtual meetings. No problem.
No, I got it all covered. Don't even worry about it. So I got it. So if you have any questions, just get directly with me. I'll keep the same meeting times. We're all good. We're going to hit it totally hard. So
but if there's something like, gosh, I really want to discuss that with Shana, reach out, let me know, and we could set something up virtually, but I won't physically be here.
But emotionally you will be?
Nope.
No? Okay. Montana has a state saying it is what?
Get lost.
I think it's the last best place.
Oh. I always just say get lost.
The last best place? Anyways, I'm not sure. They have this saying, and it confuses me when I hear it, and it is what it is. So, anyways, on to topic number 1. Let's go ahead and switch that. And thank you guys. So let's go with topic number 1. Topic number 1 for today is brand reputation and being amazing at your contracts.
Yes.
All right. So let me go ahead and start us off here. So we are real estate agents. And the main core thing that we do is help our clients buy and sell homes. And how we do that is use a contract. And the contract is the main vehicle that we have. And we need to be amazing at that. Our brand reputation that has started from the top is with my lovely wife, Shana, that she totally knows the contract inside and out. And you're kind of a nerd like that. And what we need is for everyone else to continue on being the same exact way. If you yourself do not know the contract inside and out and don't know what blanks to put in, then that is eroding at the brand reputation of what we started and what we built. So talk about that for just a little bit, if you would, Shana.
So I'm going to also kind of take a step back on brand reputation. You know, you have to think, when you go utilize a service of someone, whether it's an attorney or a handyman or whoever it is, their reputation is what gets you to engage in that service. Right?
Yes.
So this is how important it is. There are a lot of agents and realtors out there, and you have to be consistent and bite your tongue a lot of times and really think about your reputation in the industry as a whole. Okay? I think it's really important. We have worked hard on this and focused on this for many, many years, and I think it matters. We're not perfect every day, but it does matter when you step out there and you're wanting to negotiate a deal or you're in a multiple offer situation or any of those things, it matters. So one way to be very reputable in the industry is to know the contract. You know, we get contracts come over sometimes and they're not filled out properly, they're haphazardly filled out, whatever, and it really gives a negative perception of that other side and that representation.
I would
and
agree.
You almost feel bad sometimes for the client that they're representing because you think, do they even have any idea that this is happening? You know, and they may not. So know the contract. Look, there's times that Stacy and I sit down and we have to talk about, you know, certain parts of the contract. It's okay to not know it. It takes years, right? And sometimes I make mistakes on the contract. So what I want each of you to do is to know that contract. Read it. read it. If there's something in there that you don't fully understand and you're just like, well, this is what we do every time, that's not good. You should be able to know why we do that every time and what the typical is, right? So I want you to fill every blank out. And what you have to understand is once that contract is signed and executed, it's a done deal. There's no going back, and the only way to change that contract at that point is to amend it. You can't go back and make any changes, even if you just left something off. You have to amend it, which means both buyer and seller have to agree. So a silly example that I think you can relate to is if you put $400,000 or you put in an extra zero, your client's buying a $400,000 house and you put in an extra zero. And it's now a $4 million house. And you're like, whoa, oops, I made a mistake. Well, what if the seller's like, too bad, that's what you offered and that's what I'm taking. The only alternative you have at that point, the only option you have is to terminate the contract and start over. You see the problem. If they have other offers, they may not be willing to take yours anymore. So having it done correctly in the beginning is really important. It says a lot about you as an agent. And it gives them the confidence that this deal is going to move forward and in a smooth and professional way and get done. So, knowing the contract is a lot and, feeds a lot into your reputation.
It does.
Yes.
And if there's anyone out there that's not doing it correctly, kind of we're only as good as our worst link, so to speak. So when somebody goes out there and puts a contract in that doesn't have everything filled out correctly, that's not represented correctly, that's not showing the true knowledge and passion for that real estate contract, then it kind of affects everybody, right? Because there's always people that are like, oh, Keller only hires new agents, or
people get a reputation.
Yeah, like agents at Abbey Holiday all wear like...
Stop.
All right, fine. I won't scratch that.
But we get them a lot of times, and if you're filling out the financing part, they always are in the wrong space. It's okay to not know, you guys, but what we want you to do is read it, know it, ask questions. It's okay. Ask away. We love answering those questions because we know this is the main piece of everything. Your reputation, negotiation, of our entire industry, of our business, is the contract.
And if you don't know what to put in, you have a tip in there, right?
Yep, there's in zip forms in our template, there are little sticky notes in there that you can look at, and it kind of tells you what's typical and what to put in there. We're also going to be adding into zip forms, a couple of examples because we want you to be able to go back and look at a previous contract, and we can only see our own in the CRM and in zip forms. So we're going to put, I'm going to save some of my previous ones and put as examples. So you can go back and look at that. And if you've done all of your due diligence, right, we don't want to just be the people that give you the answer to give the answer. We want you to understand why you're putting that in there and make sure you put the right thing in there and do a little research and understand it. So, we're here for you. We want you to ask these questions, but please don't just call and be like, what do you put in here?
Do I put 5 or 7 in here?
What do we put in there? And that typically happens when someone is doing something on a deadline. And last minute sometimes, but they have a deadline. So please do yourself a favor, because when you're doing that, you want to have enough knowledge to know that I can get through 95% of it. There might be a little that I need help with, right? And we're fine to answer those questions. But please do your homework and know these things. We're going to talk about this more. There's some contract changes coming up that we're going to talk about at our summit. But, that's really important.
Okay. So, Shana, I think we covered quite a few items for today.
Yes.
And I think that it is good that we wrap it up.
Okay.
So I do have some end credits that will roll right now. Actually, there's no end credits, but I will just go ahead and end it. And off we go. and it stays on for like 30 seconds here, and then we'd be okay. All right.